he challenged me to a race. I said, big fella, there's no way you're going to beat me. And then we mapped it off where we're going to go down, and we had Bill Ferran standing there.
Yes, sir.
Man, I dusted his ass.
Listen.
Welcome back to the OGs. It is a Playmaker original presented by DraftKings, and we got Miami in the building today. This is Miami right here. This is Miami Heat right here.
Miami.
This is the Miami Heat right here.
This is Miami. Yeah,
I feel like if I drew a portrait of the Miami Heat, it'd be like, it would start with this right here.
You'll be in it too, though.
Man.
Well,
Yeah,
you're in the
for
background.
sure.
How you ain't in the background?
You'll be in it
Couple more
too.
D-Wade, for sure. Yeah.
Yours would be with crayon. Yours would be drawn with crayon.
I got that erasable jump. But man, NBA champion, 7-time All-Star, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, and we're going to talk about that because there probably should have been more.
We definitely going to talk about that.
All NBA selections, man. Block leader, golly, gold medalist. I mean, what are we doing here? Hall of Famer. Zoe, man, appreciate you coming in, big dog, for real.
Appreciate you, man.
Mike.
I have to personally apologize that it took so long.
Yeah, well, I got in your last night about that.
Yeah, I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to throw everybody under the bus.
Come
You know
on,
what I'm saying?
man.
Yeah, I'm not going to throw
Why
everybody
am I
under the
just
bus.
now being
So,
invited to be on the show?
Yeah.
How long y'all been in existence? What was it?
This is season 2, so.
Hey.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah,
Zoe,
season 2.
Zoe.
But you're right, though.
Okay, yeah,
You're right.
yeah.
So I'm going to show you my text
I
message
should
to
have
UD.
been one of the first ones on the show.
You absolutely right.
These are my text messages to UD right here for the last
And that's
2
why
years.
that's
Like,
Heat
when's Zoe
coaching.
coming on?
And
When's Zoe
that's why
coming
that's
on?
Heat coaching,
I
because we hold each
appreciate
other
that.
accountable.
And the arena right up the street.
This is true. And I see
Literally,
you when
it
I'm
took
there.
me 6 minutes from the arena.
This is true. This is
to
true.
get here,
You know what? You're right. Cut this. We gonna whoop somebody ass.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't like none of y'all chances. I don't like none of y'all chances. Hey, so talk about growing up in VA. Growing up in VA at the time you did. Who'd you look up to playing, and how that start?
Well, it all started. I was 8 years old, and I had an opportunity to celebrate Julius Erving's birthday a couple weeks ago in Tampa, his 75th birthday. He turned 75, and I told Doc, I said, Doc, man, you the reason why I started playing the game. I wanted to fly through the air like you.
The good doctor.
My 8 years old, my dad, for Christmas, I got the red, white, and blue ABA basketball. He played for Virginia Squires.
Oh, yeah.
And let me tell you, man, I mean, and he had Dr. J's insignia on the ball, and I was like, that was the first dose of basketball, that I experienced, and I was like, I want to play like Dr. J. It wasn't no Michael Jordan back then. It was Dr. J. And he inspired me, and then as I got taller and got a little bit more coordinated, I started admiring Patrick Ewing, which is why I ended up going to Georgetown University, because of Big John, and I idolized that whole program, So it all started with those two. Started with Doc and then Patrick Ewing.
It's so funny you bring up Big John, Coach John, and Georgetown. That was like an iconic.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That was like an iconic
80s.
for people that are growing up now. Yeah, they have no idea.
Yeah, come
like
on,
Georgetown meant
Starter
something.
jackets,
Yes.
shoes.
What started
Yes.
it? Like,
Yeah.
you got
no
that
doubt.
dog
It was a
on your
thing.
chest.
Oh,
It was a
that,
thing.
no doubt.
What?
No
It was a
doubt,
thing.
man.
What?
And what I was
They ain't
impressed
recruit many
more
white
by.
No,
guys, though.
I
Kid. I don't know if
ain't
you
gonna lie to you.
I don't know if you would have played there, but I mean, it was the thing. But they
Kid,
didn't have many white
He did
boys.
ask
But
what- They thought Georgetown was a black school.
Hey, I ain't
he
gonna
might
lie.
have got
white
in,
Catholic
though. He
school,
wanted
man.
us. We traded for him.
Hey, I ain't gonna you. We played, obviously in summertime, you're gonna play in front of all these coaches.
Right.
And every time coach would come in there, man, I went to my bag even deeper. I'm like,
Right.
but he gonna recruit me, damn it.
He's trying to put on the show with Big John, huh?
I love something about Georgetown back then. That was a
doubt.
symbol, man. It
Well,
really was.
I mean, the aura, when we stepped out on the court, man, there was a certain level, like a healthy level of fear.
Yes.
When we stepped out on the court back in the 80s and 90s, and I was like, okay, you got to bring your lunch pail tonight because they picking up full court, 94 feet in the end. We was up in your grill. That was the Georgetown aura. And it all started with Patrick Ewing and, Michael Graham, that rebounding fool, ball head back then. He was fierce, when they won that championship. back in '84. You know, so you know we kind of tried to carry that legacy on. You know, we kind of fell off over the years. You know, but I'm hoping Coach Cooley can bring that.
He's done a hell of a job already.
Yeah, he is.
He has done a hell of a job.
Yeah, it's his second year.
How crazy is that though? You guys go basically back to back Hall of Famers at the center position, and that Patrick Ewing,
Dade,
God rest his soul.
Dade, God rest his soul. And then the AI.
Oh, well, you don't know that. We don't get to that guy. I love that Bubba Chuck.
Yeah,
but that's just like to see that center position, Hall of Famer, boom, boom, boom.
We had the benefit of having a Hall of Fame coach that played and backed up another iconic center in Bill Russell.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, Big John played in Boston, won a couple championships there.
Yes.
Playing under Bill Russell. And he basically transitioned all his knowledge into us. He even had Bill come one day, empty gym. He had a couple chairs in the middle of the court, and he told me and Dikembe to come down. He said, I got a surprise for y'all. So we were sitting there in the chairs, me and Deke sitting there in the chairs, and all of a sudden Bill Russell walks in. He sits right there in front of us, and we had a conversation, man. I mean, you talking about uplifting, you know, and inspiring, you know. And it wasn't just about basketball we talked about. We just talked about life, man, you know. And, you know, he was one of the leaders during the civil rights movement and all that stuff. He kind of shared a lot of his knowledge and what he expected of us and how he expected us to make our contributions, not just to the game, but to society, you know. And I remember that conversation clearly, you know, and I kind of, you know, God rest his soul, I had an opportunity to develop a relationship with Mr. Russell over the years, you know, and inspired by what he did on the court.
Yes, sir.
11 championships. I mean, he got more championships than rings.
Yes, sir.
You know, but what he did for society, what he did for humanity, impressed me even more. You know, which is why I kind of do what I do through all of my philanthropic efforts as well.
Man, you kind of when you talk about you know Bill Russell and you talk about John Thompson, and you're talking about a real leader of men. Like, we're not just talking about
Very
basketball.
Much so. Very much
people.
so.
We're talking about a leader of men.
Yeah.
And
I'm
for
with
me, you know, and I've heard you kind of touch on this, but you know what I'm saying. I want you to talk about not only the role that John played as a coach, but also as a father figure and as a mentor, because you know you had a unique situation. But you can correct me if I know the story if I'm wrong. It was one of the toughest dudes in the city.
Yeah,
and John was like, "Nah, leave him alone. He with us." How did that story go? I'm kind of fast tracking it, but. You had some connections, and you was connected to Joe was connected to the streets a little bit, just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But Big John was like, "No, we finna clean that up. We ain't doing that."
So, you know, basketball in the streets. There's a lot of those street dudes that always gravitate towards the game. They love basketball, you know. And when I came to Georgetown, man, coming from country ass Chesapeake, you know, I gravitated towards the hood, you know. And I was out there hooping, you know, Kennedy Playground and, you know, out in the Southeast, you know, hooping. And I developed a relationship with some of those street guys, you know, and they started breaking me off. You know, they started taking good care of me. Yeah. They started taking good care of me and everything. And, you know, Big John was like, you know, come to find out, some of his people told me that I was in some government photos because I was out in the clubs with some of these guys, you know. So Big John pulled me to the side. He's like, look, he said, I don't want you hanging with these dudes no more, you know, because they're being watched, you know. So he actually called Rayful Edmond. He called him up to the campus, called him up to the office.
This ain't no, this is
and
gangster
Big
now.
John,
This is a gangster.
Yeah, straight gangster.
This is gangster.
Yeah, straight gangster. Big John called him up and sat him in his office on the university campus and told him, and first of all of them feared Big John. All them street dudes feared Big John because he was like the godfather in the city. And everything that went on, anytime we went out there, he knew every move that we made, everywhere, because people were calling Big John, hey, he's here, he out here on the corner with these cats, he out here playing cards, shooting craps, you know. I mean, that's what we did. And he told Ray, he said, hey, man, you know, you do what you do, you know, I ain't gonna get in your business. He said, but these kids are my business. These are my
So
kids.
Good. So good.
He said, I don't want you messing with my kids no more. I don't want you hanging around them. You tell them, you know, what I said. I'm gonna tell them, but they need to hear it from you. So he backed away, and unfortunately, the damage had been done. I had to end up going to court and testifying, grand jury. I had to testify as a character witness. I was on Ted Koppel Nightline and everything. It was no joke. Yeah, man, it was no joke. So Big John, he saved my life, man. Because some could have easily went down.
Yes.
You know, some could have went down, and I could have been right in the middle of it, you know, but he saved my life, you know. There's some couple other moments where, you know, he played that father figure in my life. He was that father for me when I needed it the most, you know. And even when my dad showed up at my graduation, he grabbed Big John and hugged him. You know, it was a moment, and I remember this clearly. My dad hugged Big John and said, thank you for being there for my son when I wasn't there. That was some deep.
Damn, no doubt.
You know, it really was, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
I mean, part of me going to University of Florida, and I could think back in my head now, is because of Anthony Grant.
Yeah.
Who is, you know, from Miami, from Overtown, who's also black, and he's now coaching at Dayton.
Right.
But it was just the comfortability of a successful black man who was a role model. I really didn't see very many of those.
No, man.
I didn't see very many educated, successful black men that were doing it the right way.
Exactly. Yeah,
so for me, that was like a comfortability of signing and going to University of Florida because I could see a vision of what it could be.
Which is what attracted me to Georgetown.
Yeah, you don't see
because
very
of
many.
Big John, his aura. And,
you didn't see very many, you know, successful black men that was doing it the right way.
No doubt.
Just not.
You know. And then also, my high school coach, you know, quick story, my high school coach was coached by John B. McClendon. Now, John B. McClendon coached with James Naismith, who was the founder of basketball.
Okay.
And John B. McClendon is in the Hall of Fame as well. So my high school coach was coached by him. So my high school coach, his influence, Bill Lassiter, was absolutely incredible. He was a father figure to me as well, you know, because a lot of people don't know that I grew up a big chunk of my life. I was in foster care. Mm-hmm. You know, I was in a group. Yeah, man, I was in a group home for almost a year, and then this family took me in, the Threet family, Fannie Threet, who was this amazing, angelic woman, you know, who fostered 49 kids in her lifetime, and I was one of the 49, man. And she was like a very faith-based woman. She was a retired school teacher, and she was a very giving person. So she installed all of those qualities in me, you know, through my tenure with her. My tenure with her was, I was with her for about 7 years, and then I ended up being the #1 high school player in the country because I was hanging out with Boo Williams back then, and Boo helped get me the exposure that I needed at a young age, you know, and then I had Bill Lassiter in my ear, you know, and the rest was history, man. They steered me towards Georgetown, you know, because I was being highly recruited back then. You know, the game was different back then.
A little different, Coach.
No doubt. My business was off the charts. Georgia Tech, Maryland, Syracuse. Man, my business was off the charts.
I bet your business was off the charts.
Now I see why they won 51 games in a row. They down with that great basketball. You down with the man that know the man. Right, 51 goddamn games in a row. That's ridiculous.
Hey, you talk about the game being different now.
Yeah.
And then you also touched on graduation, which I think is, to me, this
which
day
is one
and
of the things Big John prioritized.
Yes.
That's what he did. Yeah.
And so to me, like, you're on this side of it now with team and identifying, seeing young kids coming
Very
to
much so.
Right. 4 years of college now is for the #1, you know, top pick is unheard of.
Yeah, it is.
So talk to me about the 4 years that you grew there, and then what you see as like pitfalls for these kids that are coming in now that only go 1 year.
Well, NIL makes a difference.
It does make a difference.
It does make a difference. It would encourage you to stay 4 years, you know, because you know you got some financial security in if you're that good, you know, from that perspective, you know. So I understand why these young, I was influenced to leave early, man. I mean, my freshman year, I led the country in blocks.
That's what I'm saying. So what kept you there 4 years? That's crazy.
Fannie Threet, my foster mom. Like I said, she was a retired school teacher, and I remember her telling me, she was like, I want you to do something for me. And I, what? I would, run through a wall for her. She was like, I want you to get your degree.
Easy.
So I promised her. So, outside of the, I mean, I was still broke in college, other than the street brothers breaking me off here and there,
you already know.
But I was still, I was broke. And I gutted it out, man. I gutted it out, did what I had to do. We had Mary Finland, who was our academic advisor, who worked right under Big John, who took really good care of us, and she inspired us as well, to get our, handle our business in the classroom and what have you, but more importantly, he makes sure he surrounded us with all the right people. Big John did. It was times when, we get to class and it was an assistant coach, Ed Spriggs, standing at the classroom door just to make sure that you showed up that day, And if you were ever late, the whole team paid for it. If you were late to class.
Old school.
Oh, it is old school.
I like that.
Oh, no doubt. The whole, because I remember not showing up to class one day, and he made me sit on the bleachers, and he made the whole team run. Oh. So everybody was pissed at me.
That's way worse.
Yeah, that's way worse.
That had to make you feel terrible.
He ran the shit out of the team, and he made me sit on the bleachers and watch him.
Terrible.
So that shit worked.
That's a gangster.
Oh, no doubt. Oh, no
did.
doubt. It worked. So he just had a way of holding you accountable for your actions, and I was very grateful for that tutelage at that particular time, whether it be, Bill Lassiter, John Thompson, Miss Three, all of them, man. And so to get back to your question, I stayed 4 years, best thing that ever happened to me. 4 years in D.C., that atmosphere, college campus. I don't remember anything I studied in class, but the social environment, was very instrumental in my overall development.
Sure.
It's extremely important. You know what I'm saying?
Don't none of us up here remember nothing.
Oh, exactly. We don't remember everything.
They got to worry about that.
I know I got my degree in sociology. I kept it moving. I got good grades. I kept it moving.
But what I will say about what you said, and I think it's just a difference in the time, is this generation looks for the instant gratification, the instant success.
Yeah,
you can pick up the phone, you can push a button. You can do it this way.
We live in this microwave society.
Yeah, and I think for us, it was like we couldn't miss what we never had.
Yeah,
like I didn't have it. It's not like you're taking it from me.
No doubt.
So I can't really miss it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So I'm almost willing to just wait till my time comes.
Wait till your time comes.
You know what I'm saying? That was just the mentality that
totally
we had.
with
Even you, Killer, like
you
know what I'm saying. You came out of school early, but you know what I'm saying. Like you waited till it was your time.
No doubt.
3 years for you?
Two.
But but the could have left after one. Like he was coming out of high school, McDonald's All-American. Like he had that kind of hype. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't the instant gratification thing.
You know what bothers me more than anything is I feel like the NCAA has just said, go ahead, pay the guys, and hasn't put anything in place to help guide these guys through this process.
Because of course they're gonna take the money. But what
happens
after that?
They're too late with it because to me, in my opinion, it was a rash decision by the NCAA because they were getting beat up by OTE out of Atlanta. They're getting beat by G League Ignite.
Right.
They're starting to lose talent there.
Right.
So they made a rash decision.
Yeah.
They're trying to fix it now, and they're trying to do rev share, and they're trying to control it more. But it's gonna be interesting. The reason I say that is because I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but Cooper Flagg, who's probably going to be the #1 pick in the draft,
very much
threw out his name saying, I want to come back.
I want to come back. I saw that.
Yeah.
So now, that's why I was saying that, because now it's going to be super, super interesting to see, okay, how much money they pony up based on rev sharing, how they do this, and how is it going to be? Because, here's a guy that'll be #1 pick, make $15 million a year. How much can they give him at Duke? But at the same time, man, you go back to Duke, he might be, he'll be a legend.
Yeah.
He goes back. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. That's why I was asking that, because I think it's...
Duke has enough boosters to be able to take care of that. They can take care of it.
We work for one of them.
No doubt.
You sure do.
We work for one. He'll be fine. Trust me, I know he'll be fine over there.
Do work for one. Yeah. Shout out to Nick Harrison.
That's right. Shout out.
For sure.
Hoop fans, it might be April, but the college basketball action is not going anywhere. Bracket already busted? No problem. You can still get in on the action with my partners at DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, they are offering all new customers $150 in bonus bets instantly after betting just $5. Download the DraftKings app now, sign up using code OGs, and bet the unexpected. The crown is yours. Stay in on the action and use your $150 in bonus bets on DraftKings same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Combine multiple bets together from the same game. Love the thrill of live betting? DraftKings has got you covered. Bet live on in-progress games right as they happen, making watching the games that much more exciting. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Pick 6 and have the shot to win cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use my promo code OGs and bet just $5 on any wager and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code OGs only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Shout out to Omaha Steaks for repping the OGs podcast. Did you know Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience and brings people together with more than 100 years of family-owned expertise as America's original butcher? You did not know that.
I did not know that. Omaha Steaks' legendary filet mignon are extra aged to maximum tenderness and tested to the highest standards to maintain the coveted distinction of USDA certified tender.
Shout out Omaha Steaks. And now during their semi-annual sale, you can get 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code OGs at checkout.
$30 off a steak?
Man.
This sale only happens twice a year, so don't miss out on your chance to save on handcrafted steaks, beefy burgers, premium chicken, and so much more.
Don't miss the semi-annual sale at Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide, and for an extra $30 off, use promo code OGs at checkout.
That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and extra $30 off with promo code OGs at checkout.
UFC 314, presented by DraftKings, here in the city of Miami.
Oh, back in my time.
April 12th in the crib.
They ain't got me on the card?
No, you on the card. You on the card.
That's an automatic win. Bet on me.
Yeah. I'm going to bet on you. You just ain't on this card.
No, I ain't on this card.
No, you ain't on this card.
I get my ass whooped this card. I get my ass whooped on this card. I get my ass whooped on this card.
I'm not going to bet against you very much, but if you was on this DraftKings board right now, I'd probably bet against you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I give you that.
All right, who you got? I think we're both going to get the same guy.
Well, I know who. We got to go who we know. Thanks to you.
Yeah. We gotta
I got to go with Michael Chandler. I know him.
We both go with Michael Chandler.
Yeah, I got to go with Michael on that.
We got to ride with the home team.
Yeah, we going with Mike. For sure.
So UFC 314 presented by DraftKings. We're both going Michael Chandler.
We loyal to the soil.
Loyal to the soil.
Whip his ass, Mike.
Man, get on there. Hey, Michael Chandler, go get it. They ain't got the odds out yet. It must be a real good.
Care nothing about no odds.
Yeah, not today. We don't. Hey, UD, with UFC being in your city.
Yeah.
What do you think about these undercards, man?
I'll tell you one thing. I know who the I ain't picking.
Who you ain't picking?
Patricio Pitbull. He ain't even got a picture up there. Usually I'm picking a Brazilian because I know they'll tackle your ass and gravel your ass to the ground. But he ain't even got no picture up there. So I definitely got to go with Yair Rodriguez. You know what? I don't know about neither one of these guys. I'm being honest. I'm just going to go with Silva. Anybody last name Silva will whoop your ass. I'm going up here to this one. Bryce Mitchell and Gene Silva. Right. I'm taking Gene Silva. Sorry, Bryce. I know you're American, but what the man last name Silva?
Silva always wins.
What? Anything UFC and your last name Silva, you a certified ass kicker. I'm taking Silva for sure.
So not Pitbull, but Silva.
No, I ain't taking Pitbull. No, if that ain't the Pitbull that I know, then I ain't taking him.
That's UFC 314 presented by DraftKings. Good picks, UD. Let's talk about, so you leave Georgetown and go to Charlotte. One of my favorite teams, by the way.
Oh, really?
I grew up watching the old Charlotte Hornets.
I feel that during that time, the early 90s, that we were like, we attracted the younger.
Yeah, it did. 'Cause
basketball
colors
folks.
and
The colors
vibes.
and the
Yes.
pinstripes
and y'all were dope.
the teal
Y'all-
and the purple.
Energy was great.
Yeah.
And Muggsy, you know,
Muggsy
and
Bogues.
LJ
Oh, yeah.
and the grandma.
Grandmama
and all
with
that.
I get what had the disco ring gold tooth. Bro, I was like,
Yeah.
he's from Miami.
Yeah,
I ain't never
man.
seen nobody with a gold tooth in the NBA. I thought he was from Miami.
No doubt.
Y'all
Yeah.
were really the vibe for
We
real.
were.
Yeah,
we were the vibe
yeah.
at that
And
moment. Yeah,
again,
yeah,
that was when baggy shorts started becoming a thing.
Yeah,
And like
man.
every kid wanted them Charlotte Hornet baggy pinstripe shorts.
Totally,
Yes, yes,
yeah.
So
man.
like,
Yeah.
but talk about that because that was a kind of a trendy team.
You know what? I wish we could have kept the band together, man.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you know, business got in the way. It did. Business got in the way, and you know, I'm going to say this, you know, publicly. You know, I don't think that we had the proper management to keep it together because I was willing to stay there. You know, but God had another plan.
Well, we happy you didn't. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say,
I was
I'm just
willing
gonna
to
put
say-
that out there real quick.
Yeah,
Now, we
yeah. I'm happy.
you didn't.
Look, come to Miami is the best thing ever happened to me, bro. It's truly for me and my family, you know, for my life in general, the best thing ever happened to me. Pat
me too.
Riley, Mickey Harrison, all
too.
of them, you know, they have been a blessing to my life, you know, to this day, you know. But I knew what I knew at that time. I knew Charlotte, and I loved Charlotte. I had just come from Virginia. That was my hometown, and Charlotte had a lot of similarities to
Yes, yes.
Virginia, and we were the hottest things in town.
Man, that
And
thing was
I couldn't-
smoking in there.
We couldn't go nowhere. I didn't pay for no meals or nowhere. You know, we had the largest attendance in basketball.
It's
You know,
crazy.
we had the largest attendance, the largest crowd, man, and they were electric
And it
every
just fell-
night.
and it just-
And I
it
loved
fell
playing
off.
there in the Hive.
It
man.
just like when that team broke up, that team just went
Yeah,
boom,
yeah,
like
yeah.
literally.
Yeah, it really did.
Then you started going there
Yeah.
as friends and family, and
Yeah,
then
exactly.
and then
Yeah.
BD and those guys came back.
They
and
They brought it
started
back. Yeah,
revitalizing
brought it
a
back.
little
Guys
bit.
brought it back.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, that team was dope, man. So
no doubt.
what split it up? What was it?
Well, you know,
I want to know this. This is
well,
like
listen, the owner of the team, George Shin, you know, he paid LJ, and I was next up, you know, and my agent said, hey, you know, I can get you this with 5 different teams. You just got to choose which team you want to play for. I said, no, I want to stay I want to stay in Charlotte. And David Falk said, I don't think Charlotte's going to pay you this number. And I said, well, you know, I'll take less money to stay. So we started having conversations with George Shin, and he said, and these were his exact words, you're not worth that.
Damn.
Ooh.
Yeah, and that right there,
I mean, how fast you pack your bag?
oh, I packed it real quick. Yeah.
Should have packed. You know what? Keep it.
When he told me that, I had
crazy.
to get out of there, man. I was like, good
Damn,
Lord,
what his
man.
name,
Yeah.
George? Damn.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
George Shin, yeah. So that was the basis of the conversation. And
What a great gain for Miami.
and then during that process, I reached out to Patrick and I asked him about, you know, playing under Pat Riley. And I said, I heard his practices are hard, man. You know. And Pat was like, boy, you went to Georgetown.
Yeah.
As hard as our practices was, you ain't gonna be intimidated by the practice. He said, go to Miami, go. And I said, Patrick, I had a chance to come to New York and play with you. He was like, nah, I don't want you here. Go to Miami. So that put me over the top right there.
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
That was the deciding factor right there. It really was, because I had a conversation with Big John and Patrick, and they both told me to come to Miami. Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
I was wondering how that ended. How that ended up.
Well,
coming
that's
about.
how it happened, man. You know, and I'm gonna tell you,
And the crazy thing is, Patrick knew that you would be competing against him.
yeah, he knew that.
He knew by sending you to Miami, it was gonna be on.
Because I would have played the 4 in New York, and he would have played center,
Yeah.
man. I mean, that would have been an incredible front.
That would have been crazy. That's when the
Incredible front
American
line.
big man. Because I
Yeah,
want
would've
to talk
been
to you about
incredible
this
front
because I
line.
feel like the
Yeah.
American center is somewhat diminishing. The American center.
Yeah,
we'll get into
it
that.
is.
You
Yeah,
know what I'm
well,
saying?
right now it's prehistoric. It
Yeah.
really is. You know, guys don't value the post up and taking advantage of mismatches. And
It's so funny, man. When I first came in the league, we'll talk.
Yeah.
I played with Patrick P. I played with
you
him in
did?
Orlando.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Right.
Obviously
That's
older,
right. That's
older
right.
PE.
Old
But
PE.
he was still the same OG though. He was he grinder work.
Oh, for sure.
But as what I was telling her, you come in, you always have 2 7-footers.
Right.
And you run floppies, and you
And
play
guys
to the post. And
they come off the screen, big
exactly,
step in,
exactly
duck
right.
in after
duck
they come on the
in,
block.
seal, all that, you know.
No, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I talk about it, man. Like those guys were so valuable because there was the illegal defense was so different.
Oh,
so
yeah,
you're on an
yeah,
island.
yeah,
Them big
no
dudes.
doubt.
I'm telling you, man, the game has completely.
Guys don't
changed.
duck in no more, man. They popping.
duck in
They
right
picking
in front
it,
of the
popping out
Man,
for the
duck
jumper.
Duck in right in front of the rim, so you get an easy layup. Listen,
Like,
we
come
were
on, man.
doing a drill the
Yeah.
other day, and we were coming off a screen where they set a screen at the elbow, and the big just dived down to the block and get
Right.
the ball in the paint. As we doing the drill, everybody coming off the screen at the elbow, but they diving out to 15 feet.
15 feet. It was
I'm
like,
like, just cut off the screen
screen
sharp and go straight to the block.
back and go
Why
straight
the
to
hell
the
y'all
block?
run away? And mind you, the defender's going under the screen. So all you got to do is meet him and seal
meet
him.
him and seal him. Yes.
Everybody running
Yeah,
to 15 feet.
Unbelievable.
I'm like, y'all don't see the defender going under the screen. He hit his ass, seal his ass, and just take a layup.
But analytics say, but if you shoot this many shots this many times, but it doesn't emphasize the fact that, you know, you shoot a higher percentage in this particular area. So if I shoot these shots, yeah, they're 2s, but if you shoot more 3s, then I'm like, no, man.
Yeah, but the crazy thing
I
about
don't wanna hear
it is
that shit,
the
man.
crazy thing
Yeah,
about
yeah,
the crazy thing about analytics is that it's contradicting because down the stretch you take whatever shot you can get.
Yeah.
So now you're I want to get up 30, I want to get up 43s,
Yeah.
but down the stretch you're taking what you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah.
You're taking what you can get.
Yeah. I'm always looking for a higher percentage shot.
Yes, exactly.
What's going to give me a higher percentage of a chance to make the shot?
Yes.
You know, so give me a steady volume of that.
I ain't gonna lie, I love that era. I like the way they're shooting threes right now. For me,
I'm sure. I can imagine.
I want to play now.
Understood.
And
Understood.
I
Yeah, I
enjoy
get
it
yeah.
when you have the skill set and you have
When you have the skill set to
but-
do it, yeah, the
but-
roster to
but
do it.
here's-
Everybody doesn't have the
Yeah,
roster
and-
and the skill set for
and
that.
what you guys are
Like
talking.
Boston did the
Yeah.
other night was ridiculous.
Yeah.
When you're guys like Peyton Pritchard, who are not even your main guys, and Derek White can
Getting
go in and
40.
make 10 threes and
9,
9 threes and
10
score
threes,
40.
yeah.
That's the type of team should be doing that. That ain't for everybody.
Yeah,
Killer.
it's not for
here's
everybody.
the problem.
Now, everybody ain't Steph Curry.
No,
Yeah,
and
that ain't for
everybody.
And the
ain't Steph
problem
Curry.
is like to me, where coaches and organizations have got to start reeling it back in a little bit is they play a certain style games 1 through 82. They're not doing that in the playoffs. That equal opportunity, one pass shot. Okay, you do that game too in the Western Conference Finals, Eastern Conference Finals.
Oh, yeah.
Boop, no, our best player, high pick and roll, fine paint.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
and as you know, in the playoffs, especially in the fourth quarter, the game slows down.
it's gonna be a 4-minute game at the end of every playoff game. It's a four. I tell people all the time, you're turning into 4-minute games.
Yeah.
The last 4 minutes, you're not gonna be just okay. Can I get him a 3?
You're not just throwing it in. You're not
Who's my
just getting it in,
dog?
throwing it
Yeah,
up court,
yeah.
advancing and shooting threes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like it's cute the 1 through 82 because it's like okay, we lost that game, whatever.
My 2 best players,
No,
pick and
done.
roll.
It's over.
Yeah, no
It's over.
doubt. Yeah,
Yes.
no
And
doubt.
they-
Put them in the pick and roll.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
No doubt.
Yo,
The
I'm
last
with you.
4 minutes,
Yeah.
you ain't doing all that shit.
I'm with you. I've been
Get
saying
to
it.
your spots and we taking what we could get.
On this
Yeah.
side of it now, when I talk about it, I'm like I get frustrated and watch it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, but that's not how y'all gonna do it in the playoffs. I promise you.
Yeah.
Well, if you do, it's gonna be a 1-round exit.
Yeah, for
You're
sure.
not. It's not gonna be like because hey, we know this. Playoff basketball is different. Not everyone's built for
Totally.
this.
No, it's not, bro.
I was able to watch and pay attention. You know what I'm saying? I got a chance to see guys like yourself, you know, Kurt Thomas, you know, Keith Askins,
K-Dog.
you know, K-Dog,
Kevin Willis.
Kevin
Yeah,
Willis.
yeah,
I mean, the
yeah.
list goes on and on.
Yeah.
But just talk about, you know, the beginning, you know, in the building of the culture. You know what I'm saying? That I carried with so much pride.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
We're
just
talking
talk about
Miami Heat culture now,
yes,
right?
the Miami Heat
Perfect.
culture. But just talk about the beginning when you
We-
first got to the
we
Miami
talking
Heat,
about
just
3
establishing that.
We first of all, it started with conditioning. You had to be in the best shape of your life.
You thought you was in shape, you still had to get in shape.
You had to be in the best shape of your life because Pat's approach was we're gonna outlast our opponents in the fourth quarter. We're gonna be in better shape than them. We're gonna run them into the ground. Defensively, we're gonna be up and into them. Our help defense is gonna be impeccable.
Yes.
You know, somebody get beat, a body's there.
Yeah.
You got to run through me, you know, to get to where you're going, you know. And I loved it because it held guys accountable.
Man.
It really did. It held guys accountable, you know. So you got in the game, you knew what the hell your job was. And we were all connected to a string. So if I went this way, I was pulling Mike with me. Like, okay, come on over here. You know what I'm saying? And we never left anybody on the island by themselves. Even on the post, we butt front.
Yeah.
You know, made it hard for the offensive man to catch the ball. And then when he caught it, it was a guy down there digging. He was digging. We gonna make it very hard for you to score, you know, which is why, you know, the scoring totals were much lower.
No doubt.
You know, because we were defending our asses off. You know, we took pride in holding teams to shooting 39%. 38, 39%. We took pride in that. You know, that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to hold you to 39, 38% because we contesting every shot, we blocking closing out, getting every rebound, all of that stuff. We trapping the box. You go baseline, there's a man there standing on the baseline. You got to run me over to get where you got to go. You know, so those principles started Heat culture, our 3.5-hour practices. You know, we knew. And let me tell you what, I hated
3.5-hour practice. We're actually 3.5-hour practices.
Close out drills till you can smell the shoes burning. The rubber on the shoes burning. We close out drilling.
How about
not just the guards?
How about
the bigs too? Zoning closing out to the 3-point line.
How about the loose ball drills? How about the charge drills? You had to take charges from everybody. Boom,
boom,
boom. You taking charges. You know.
Listen, loose ball, you going after it like your life on the line.
Oh yeah, loose ball. He would put 2 guys on the end line. We go to he'll roll the ball out, he'll blow the whistle, and we all had to go. We 2 had to run and get the ball, and we played 1-on-1 from there. Oh, it was no joke.
I ain't gonna lie.
I mean, it was Alcatraz, brother. It was no
joke.
It was the Rock.
Competition and iron sharpening iron.
It was iron sharpening iron.
I love it, and I don't like to sound like.
But the beauty of it is that we developed so many winning habits that when we got in the game was so easy.
Yes.
It was so easy. We were like, we just play. We don't want to practice.
Man,
we want to play.
Exactly.
We want to play. Yeah,
I
no
ain't gonna
doubt.
lie to you. It's funny though you say that because, you know, you don't want to be like the guy who walk up a hill both ways to school, you know what I mean? But to these young kids now, like 3.5-hour training camp practice were 3.5-hour practices.
Yeah.
Like I was my rookie year, I get there's Doc Rivers. Obviously, Doc comes with a lot of Coach Riley's pedigree.
Yeah.
Man, the first training camp practice, you're doing their 17s. If you don't pass your 17s, you're doing 17s the next morning. You do a 17s test,
no doubt.
and then you practice for 3.5 hours.
Right,
Man, I ain't gonna lie, the last hour and a half of my first training camp, I don't remember. I don't remember. Because you do that. You do that 17s, and you got to pass that 17s test, and then you practice.
By the way, 17s was the width of the court. 17 times.
17 times.
And you had to do it under time.
Under time.
If you didn't make it, had to be under time. And if you ain't making it, you had to run it over.
I ain't gonna. My first training camp practice, if you asked me to recall, I couldn't recall it. I was like, it was just blur.
But I tell you what, you rather be in practice than in the playpen.
You ain't lying.
You'd rather be in practice than in the playpen, so you'll get your ass out there and run.
So if you was hurt, or couldn't practice that day, you had to go in the playpen. So Bill Ferran, our strength coach at the time,
Bill.
He had you over there doing exercises, and you ain't all this nonstop different exercises. And you would rather practice than be over the playpen.
I had my sports hernia surgery when I was here before I played for Miami. And I'll never forget, as I was getting back, they put me on that bike. I walked over, and I said, man, I'm practicing tomorrow. They said, you ain't ready.
I said, I ain't doing that.
I remember that.
I told you, I promise I ain't doing that shit right there.
Man, I was on that. When you could be on that bike, if you had lower extremity issues and you could pedal a bike, bruh, you were like Lance Armstrong over there.
And Bill would be right there. Okay, they're running. Go. Like, no, that's not how this plays out.
But let me tell you something, man, and this is what I have learned. Like that mindset, that will to do whatever it takes to succeed and to put yourself in a winning situation, even if people think you're
it's lost.
That helps outside of basketball, outside of Heat coaching. You can take the things that we learned in that mindset, and you can apply that in anything.
But there's a lot of guys, because they don't know about that, they wouldn't value something like that. They look at it as discipline. Like, they disciplining me, we practicing this long, and you're like, no, we are developing some armor to help you deal with adversity come game time, you know. They'll help you deal with challenges, you know, when the game starts, you know. So I was ready for anything.
You said it in here, you were right. Like, one thing about it being here is games were easy compared
the games were easy, for
games
sure.
Were easy.
Yes.
You're like, oh, that's all it was? You didn't have to ice after the game.
Very much so. You know, so hard-working, most professional, hardest working, most professional,
Nasty.
toughest, meanest, nastiest, best condition. All these, adjectives, put together to create our culture, and we hold people to a high standard, especially being in the best shape of your life. That's where it starts.
Yes.
Because in order for you to perform at your optimal condition, then you got to really take pride into being in the best shape of your life. And it's a lot of guys that don't value that. They really don't. They don't make that investment.
Let me tell you something.
And you use we can use the analogy as Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt would train for 4 years to run one race.
To run 8 and a half, 9
Yeah,
seconds.
8.5, 9 seconds. So why can't we train and get ourselves in excellent condition to go out there and play 82 games?
It's what what you're saying there, you can talk about in LeBron James, what he's doing right now.
Jesus, let me tell you what.
Let me tell you something.
I am. First of all, I am. First of all, it was an honor to have been in the front office and witness part of his legacy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now I got newfound respect.
I agree.
Man, it's crazy.
Totally. Because
He's in the MVP conversation.
So-
yeah, man.
He is,
to be 40 years old
So-
and to do what he's doing right now is unheard of.
So obviously, my relationship with
Yeah,
LeBron.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
this dude, right?
Yeah.
And people ask me when I left Cleveland the last time, how many years do you think you can do this? At that time,
Yeah.
I said maybe a couple, 2-3 more years. This
Bro,
level.
he's shooting 52% right now from
His
the
numbers,
field.
his numbers.
He's
he won
averaging
MVP
25
here in
points and
Miami.
shit. Yeah, most definitely.
His numbers now
There's
That's what
no
I'm
doubt.
saying.
are better than what he did here that when he MVP. in Miami.
Incredible.
It's unheard of. Like,
And by the way, his team's number 2 in the West.
That's what I'm
right?
saying.
and they win it.
And I want to make sure people understand the rigors and
the jumping, the
That's
pounding,
what I'm saying.
Yes.
Just
the
one
constant
season.
jumping
not
and
22,
pounding.
just one season.
the banging and all of that. Just the rigors of the sport. I mean, how is he able to do this at 40?
And to go that deep all the time. Like he's been doing it like
I think he's an alien, man. He ain't from here.
No, Zoe.
He from another planet. He ain't from
I've
here,
told him
man.
he gets mad at me every time I say it. He's a test tube baby.
Yeah.
100% they went in there and they went ding,
Listen,
ding,
when I see
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
boy-
yeah.
when I
ding,
see
ding.
that-
Oh, look at this guy here.
when I see that boy get on the
unbelievable.
scale and it said 265, I said, this is different.
Yeah, totally.
I was a power forward and I was only 240.
But you know how much I weigh right now?
You
I weigh
25 pounds
I
more
weigh
than me.
265 now.
I was a power forward. The guy weighed me by 25 pounds. I was looking at myself like, I got to get my
I've
together.
told I've told this story before. Obviously weigh body fat every whatever day it was here.
Yeah.
We playing, and I've told the story on here before. This is why I know he's a test tube. We play Indiana. He has like 46, 16, and 9, whatever. Goes overtime. He plays 52 minutes. Basically all the minutes. He weighed 265 before. He weighed 271 afterwards, or something like that. He gained like 7 pounds.
Well, how was that? Because he drank a lot of fluids or something?
Coach. That's why I'm saying he's not real.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's doing this, he just scored his 50,000th point.
Yeah, that's another thing.
He just scored his 50,000th point.
Man, ain't nobody ever gonna break that.
Never.
Yeah, not in our lifetime. Y'all won't see
Coach,
that.
the fact
Y'all won't
that
see
he's 40.
Yeah.
Yes.
40.
Yeah.
Bro, if you told me to go run right now, I'd be a trouble.
And we talk about guys who we played with this guy. We talk about a guy who actually prefers to pass.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a pass guy. Braun is a pass guy.
He is
They
a
got
pass guy.
50,000 points.
Yeah.
50,000.
Motherfucker would be a ball hog, you have 100,000.
Yeah.
He was a ball hog.
No doubt.
I'm telling you right now, man, I hope y'all enjoy it now because y'all going to miss
enjoy
it when you go.
Enjoy every minute of it. Yeah.
I ain't mad at him,
Yeah,
though.
it's a
He doing
treat
his
to
damn
watch.
thing.
It really is.
It really is.
Well,
hope
it's
y'all.
getting scary because we talking about Braun, we talking about Steph, we talking about KD.
Yeah.
It's gonna be an end of an era where
Oh, yeah.
I might be searching for like, God damn, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's gonna be an end of an era soon.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But these young boys, they doing their thing, but it's gonna be an end of an era soon.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this era though. 90s.
Miami in the 90s. Woo, I can't wait. I was waiting to ask this question, Big
talk
So,
about this
because I ain't had no paper. Them cocaine in the 90s, woo. Let me know how it was in the 90s when I was broke sitting over there.
First of all, paint the picture because what I people like, even for guys like me who came around in 2000 and whatever, where did you guys practice and play here? Because we had,
Not just practice and play. I want to hear the other shit too.
we are getting
You
that.
want to talk about that.
Yeah,
I
we're
want to
getting
hear
that.
about the other shit too,
get
Miami in the 90s.
We practice at Palmetto Rec Center.
What the hell
we
is
didn't
that?
have a. It's off
See,
of
that's what I'm
836.
saying. I'm
It's off of
trying-
836. It
Y'all
was
practice
like
at a rec center?
We practiced at a.
Hey,
I'm
rec-
happy I
rec-
came
rec-
late.
Yeah.
I'm happy I came late. That was
Can
practice
these
at
young
a.
kids
Yeah,
please say thank you
Palmetto
to
Rec.
us, y'all?
Oh no, we paved the way.
Because
Come
I'll
on,
be honest,
man.
when I first got to
they don't
Memphis,
have
we practiced
a,
at Rose
they don't have a
College.
clue. They don't have a clue.
Yeah.
I would, yeah, I couldn't. I didn't know
what
that.
these young cats, what y'all are benefiting from.
Yeah.
These young cats are benefiting from, right? Y'all don't have a clue what the pioneers of this game.
That's what I'm saying. That's unbelievable.
Y'all don't have a clue what they did to make the game what it is today. You know, what they had to go flying commercial.
Yep.
Okay,
nah.
they had their own
Oh,
planes.
flying commercial after the game, you
Yeah,
stayed over.
Yeah,
Yeah,
after
nah.
the game, you
Yeah.
stayed over. All of that stuff. You
Nah.
know, it's just
Practicing that palmetto.
yeah.
I ain't used to that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, or if it's Philly, New York, they took the bus. They didn't fly.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. They were busting it, man. You know, they were finding ways to save money.
Yeah, y'all traveling
you know,
like the
because the
Globetrotters.
salary clap. Yeah.
Damn, man, what we talking about, man? What we doing?
No doubt. You know, and then our practice facility, like I said, was a recreational center. And I remember our first
So
practice.
no locker room there, Zoe?
Bro, our locker room was some old people that had just worked out in the rec center. They were in there with us.
Oh, balls and all over the place before practice. Oh,
Hey, you need to
They
know.
were
no,
yeah.
no. I'm
was
leaving.
bad.
I don't want to practice.
First of all,
my stomach hurt.
First of all,
I got
the out of bounds was the wall. So you had the out of bounds line right here, and you had the wall right there.
See?
So the whole gym, when we practiced, all the out of bounds, so we were running
Running to the damn wall.
with no pads on
Yeah.
the wall or none of that. You know, so that's how it started here in Miami in 1995.
Yeah, I
you
ain't
know,
never
when they
heard
brought me
that.
here.
Where were
Yeah.
y'all playing your games at?
We played our games in the old arena.
Old arena,
yeah.
right.
Nah, I've
that
been
was
there.
right here in Overtown.
Yeah,
Which literally is maybe a half a mile away from the new arena. Yeah.
Yes.
And you know, being in that old arena, and I kind of miss the atmosphere in there because we were closer to the fans. You know, so there was more of a, you know, a
Connection,
homely,
Almost like a college atmosphere, a little more.
connection.
Yep.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, so
Now you can ask your question.
What's
90s
that?
off the court.
Outside. Outside. Miami in the 90s outside when you got some paper.
I feel like a video should be
Tell
on
me,
VHS should be put on right now.
Listen, I tell
just-
people this all the time.
I
man,
just
and I
signed-
never been to South Beach till I got in the NBA zone.
So
You just
so,
tell me.
You know what? You know
Tell me what
sad-
you want to tell me. Don't
you
tell
know
me everything.
you
Just
know
tell me what you want to tell me.
You know what saddens me about that though? You hadn't been to South Beach because there's kids in Miami right now that live 15 minutes from the beach, and they've never been. And we got millions of people from all over the world
They come here.
That
come
and go
in
to our
here
beach. Yeah.
to visit our beaches, you know, and it's unfortunate. It's like there's this invisible wall up. Even adults, you got adults that's never been to the beach because they don't feel like it's for them.
Yeah, I
they
didn't
didn't
think so.
feel
I
like it
didn't
don't
think it was for
belong
me.
to them. Yeah, they didn't
Crazy.
think it's for them. You know, it's a public damn beach. You know, so that's one of the things that we do in our foundation. You know, we try to. Part of their development, we try to expose them to parts of Miami that they haven't seen. And part of that is just taking them to the beach, put their foot in the sand and put their feet in the water and what have you, you know. So, but Miami back then was on and popping, man. I had a club.
Oh,
Yeah, I had
Hold
a
up.
club on South Beach.
hold
You didn't
on.
know about
Breaking
that?
news. Breaking
Hold on
news.
now.
Yeah.
What club?
It was called Onyx.
I
And-
do. Remember, I ain't been to
and
Onyx, but I know Onyx.
Pat, Mickey, all of them. They in Maryland, and everybody used to come in and.
You got Pat to come to the club, dog?
He came to the club one night, man. He came to the club, man. He was up there, had him in the VIP
Raul's
section.
been holding
and-
out on us.
Yeah, man.
You
yeah.
been holding out on us,
Yeah,
Raul. Really?
So it was called Onyx, and it was open a couple years, man. I had a great time, you know. So
That's dope.
I'm not gonna tell you some of the stories that.
Nah, I don't want
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
incriminating, but I know
Yeah,
y'all had a
nothing
good
Like if you
time.
ask a
incriminating.
question about Miami in the 90s, we got to put a VHS tape in or something.
Yeah, you do. You
We
definitely
knew,
do.
you know,
Yeah.
just we
But
had
the beach was on.
We
and
had the
popping
Rolex,
back
we
then.
had the Cocos,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
we had the shout out.
We
you
had
feel me?
Cocos and Rolex. We had all that. Oh, Rolex was
So
on
that's
the
so you
spot.
know, so I just used to hear about y'all. Y'all was legends
yeah.
in the hood. Them boys was in Cocos last night. I'd be like,
Yeah.
damn, them boys in Cocos last night. I can't wait now get me some money.
Yeah, listen, you know, Miami's changed tremendously. You know, it's becoming, the growth of it is kind of incredible.
Yes, man.
yeah.
Amazing. It's amazing.
It's an
To see the
incredible
Miami
growth
now.
here. You know, it's becoming
Remember what Wynwood used to be?
It's becoming
to what
a little,
it is now?
It's becoming a little metropolis right
Yes.
now. It really
Yes.
is.
Yes. It's beautiful.
You know, and I'm excited about the growth. You know, and our skyline has grown tremendously since 1995. You know, and counting.
Yes. Yes.
You know, and when you think about it, it's the gateway to South America. You know, but since COVID, more and more people from the Northeast, from the West Coast are gravitating here, you know, and they feel like that because they pay no state tax, because the weather is impeccable, and because, you know, it's just a multicultural atmosphere, you know, it's becoming extremely attractive to a lot of billionaires now, you know. So I'm excited about the growth. The only thing that I'm that's a little unfortunate is the natives here.
Great. I was about to follow up with that. Yes.
It's making it very difficult for them to survive here.
Yes. Yeah, yes.
Because they can't afford to live here anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, the natives can't afford because you literally now have to spend over 50% of your income just on living.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Just on rent and living and what have you, you know. And the property values have skyrocketed because people are congregating here and they're raising our property values, you know, so it's tough. So, which is why, and I would love to transition into this, you know, how we're really helping the economy down here and we're helping the folks, our workforce down here. UD and I are developing affordable housing down here, you know, which is much needed, you know, and there's a shortage of 19,000 affordable houses just here in South Florida. You know, and I'm actually working on phase 2 of affordable housing project in Overtown, 120 units.
That's awesome.
And I know you is about to do a ribbon cutting of another affordable housing project.
That's awesome.
You know, so I'm excited about that because we not only is it's obviously business, but also we're helping our community as well. It's a tremendous need. There's a shortage of 7 million affordable houses across the country.
Can't build them fast enough.
You cannot build them fast enough because these people need our essential workers. They need a place to live, you know, and especially close to their job because right now traffic is insane.
Come on, man.
Because people having to live way out.
Ridiculous.
They got to live way out and they have to drive, you know, to their jobs. It's just crazy.
People don't understand what Wynwood used to be.
Yeah, man.
But what it is now.
Can you imagine if we knew what we knew?
Exactly.
And we had the liquidity, we would have bought up
all that
Wynwood.
I'd have bought up Wynwood.
Yeah,
Wynwood would have been Haslamwood.
Yeah.
I take that back. I don't like Haslamwood. That don't sound right. Would have been you. Yeah, I don't like Haslamwood. We're gonna change it. We're gonna change that name.
But even in the design district, the same.
I got buddies that grew up in Wynwood. They had to move.
Yeah.
You have to move. Because of what's going on.
Yeah, because of the property values just skyrocketed.
Yeah,
you know, they couldn't afford to live there no more.
Hey, before we talk about the Miami Heat now, I do need to have a question. And Chris, can you pull up this photo for me, please? This iconic photo.
Man, what the hell Jeff Van Gundy?
Hey, man, listen.
Man.
I remember this.
I was trying to get past. Oak was trying to hold me. You see, I was trying to get past. I was trying to get to LJ's ass. I was trying to get to him. Yeah.
This is unbelievable. First of all, I remember watching this, vividly watching this.
I do too.
Talk to me about this.
Look at Jeff.
Look at Jeff Van Gundy.
What
a legend, by the way. I love that dude.
I'm surprised he
He's
didn't mess my knee up.
That's loyalty right there.
Yeah, no doubt. Listen, I admire Jeff.
Yep.
It was that picture defines pretty much the intensity level 100%. Of every last Knicks Heat games in the 90s. Yeah. Everyone, even the regular season games. Yeah. And it was ironic how we met in the playoffs for 4 straight years. It was so ironic, you know. And it was classic Hatfield and McCoy's.
So what happened here? What happened here? Why are you trying to get the LJ?
Because LJ got the bag and Charlotte is okay. I'm going to whoop that money out your ass.
Grandma, beat your ass.
We got tangled up, and it was some words exchanged, you know, a couple of elbows, and we just went to scrapping, you know. And obviously, you know, there was already a pent-up rivalry, a built-up rivalry, you know, and that just led to something. Well, it was several. This wasn't the only
yeah,
fight.
Didn't
What
PJ
about PJ's fight?
Didn't PJ Brown
y'all show
DDT
PJ
Charlie
and
Waters?
and
Didn't
listen.
PJ DDT Charlie Waters? Some
yeah,
shit?
yeah,
It was
yeah.
crazy
Nick-
going on back
Nick,
then.
Nick,
Yeah,
you didn't need nothing. You didn't need nothing to start.
No, you ain't need
You
nothing.
didn't need nothing to start.
No, not at
It
all.
could have been anything in
It
that
could've
fight.
been.
PJ Brown
anything.
picked Charlie Waters
Yeah.
up and spent them around.
Yeah,
like
split
a
it
goddamn
and flipped
thing.
him. Damn right.
It was crazy. Like,
We
that shit was crazy.
We
dog.
had several fights, you
That
know.
shit was
so,
crazy.
But you know what? All this was a derivative of Pat Riley coaching the New York Knicks.
For sure.
Yes.
Going to Miami.
Transition in Miami.
No doubt.
So
Yes.
he planted the seed.
No doubt.
He planted the seed, that type of mentality in New York. Jeff Van Gundy was his disciple.
Yep.
And he planted the seed in Miami as well. So you had two very similar teams playing the same way. That's why the scores were so low. The scores were in the games were in the 80s and 90s.
I'm happy you brought that up, that he
Yeah.
planted the seed, because
Oh, damn right. So Pat is the culprit.
because
he's
that's
the
why I'm
culprit.
so crazy now.
Yeah.
He planted the seed.
but-
I only think one way. It's,
Yeah,
you gotta tell
exactly.
people, I only think one way.
We
Yeah,
got
yeah.
something for y'all right here.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
This shit is crazy
yeah.
right here.
Oh, they're showing all the highlights. Hold on, let's watch this
Nah,
stuff.
yeah, we ain't want to see all the highlights. We just want to see what
I don't
he picked
mind
this
it.
man
This
up.
is was it Rashawn Leonard?
Rashad
Bo,
Bo.
Man.
that's a tough shot.
Strap.
Yeah.
Bo was tough.
Oh,
Man, he had a
yeah,
strap.
Bo was a sticker. Yeah.
These are good though. Here it
Oh, here it is.
is. Look at
Oh,
Damn, Jeff looked like he just came. Killer, look how he picking him up.
Looked like he had a bottle of Jack Daniels.
Man, Killer, look how he picked
Oh,
what? Killer, man, listen,
Yeah.
ain't no way. Boy, I'm calling. There go Jeff again. To Jeff credit,
man.
boy, Jeff be ready.
Oh man.
Hey, Killer, you throw
Hey,
me
man,
like
I
that
wish I played
every
that.
time I
Hey, but
see
boy,
you.
you see how we all rushed though. All of us was over there.
The
all
bench
of
fines.
us.
Ain't nobody care about no
Yeah,
bench
yeah,
fines.
There wasn't no
no
bench
doubt.
fines
About
back
no
then.
money getting paid. Look at Tim. He like that. Tim like that. And we would do it again. And we would do it again. Lucky I ain't get that fast enough.
Look at Young
Don't
Zone.
smile it too. Y'all was sick, so
Yeah,
you got a little
yeah.
smirk on your face too.
Damn right. Let's get it on, baby. Let's get it on. I didn't know no other way.
Tim Hardaway.
Oh,
That is, look at his feet.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Just picked his ass up and
Was
flipped
there a
him.
suspension?
I didn't realize how strong PJ was.
Was that-
to
that's
just
dope.
pick
Hey,
a
y'all
man
were
up and just
monsters,
flip
though.
So
him.
please, listen, and I'm not
Did they
wishing no
suspend
bad
him?
luck,
They
but please
suspended
tell
him?
me he got suspended.
Yeah, he got suspended.
God
yeah,
damn.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
Tim Hardaway. And we
That
do
look like that little that you
again.
blow. You know the things you hold, you blow it and spin around like that. He spin the man. That's crazy to do another grown man like that. He shook the
man.
Heisman Trophy out his
That's
ass.
classic.
I ain't
You
gonna
see the
lie to
Heisman
you.
Trophy fall out of Charlie Ward's pocket just then? You see the Heisman Trophy fall out?
I ain't gonna lie to you. I can watch that shit over and over and over again, like
Oh, man.
those '90s games.
Y'all were nuts, but I love it.
man.
I wish I could have played in that era.
I'm sure you would have fit
wish I
well
could've
in that
played in that
area.
era.
You would have fit well in that area, my brother.
wish I could've
no
played in
doubt.
that era.
And you talk about LeBron. LeBron would have played well in the '90s. Are
Oh,
you
for
kidding me?
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, we would have laid some wood on him, though.
For sure.
Yeah, we took him out of the air a couple of times, but he would have bounced right back because the way he playing now is just unreal.
So talking about the eras now. Talk about Miami Heat now. I know it's
Before we talk about the Miami Heat now, I always have to ask this because
What's that?
we work on our skill set. You work on your shots, you work on your handles, you work on your post moves, you work on this. The elite shot blocking.
Right.
What is that? Like, what is that? Just some shit that
I think I had
is
two
that-
block
is
shots in my career.
Yeah.
I got a couple block shots, but I got to catch you slipping.
I got two.
Yeah.
I got to catch you slipping. But the elite shot blocking, bro, is that like is that just God's gift
It's
to Zoe?
just no.
Or
It's
is that
just
something that
it's-
you worked
it's-
on?
it's
Did you
just-
watch film?
It's just an actual. First of all, I average.
Because motherfucker, you 6'9".
Yeah, well, I'm 6'10".
You 6'9".
Yeah, I'm
Hey,
6'10".
So I'm
He's
6'7".
He's 6'4" and a half.
I'm 6'7". You
got,
6'9".
But I got like a 7'6" wingspan.
That is true.
Yeah.
That
no
is true.
doubt, Yeah.
But you
And I was
6'9".
fairly athletic. I was fairly
You're very
athletic.
athletic.
Yeah.
But you're 6'9".
Yeah. So first of all, it's pursuit. I averaged a triple double in high school. I averaged almost 11 blocks a game in
That's
high school.
ridiculous.
Okay.
That's ridiculous.
So I averaged like
Check your
15
paperwork.
27 points, 15 rebounds, and like 11 blocks a game. So when it started back then, because my high school coach would always tell me, I don't want them to score in the paint. I don't want them to score. So I developed the habit of going after shots. And then Big John would tell me Bill Russell used to keep the ball in bounds. So then I started making sure that I didn't throw the ball, that I would just catch it at its peak, keep it in bounds so we can start to break with it. So we keep the possession because otherwise a lot of shot blockers, they block it out of bounds. You get a lot of oohs and ahs out of the fans, and we're like, well, they just got the ball back. And they about to score, you know. So, and then, as my career developed, man, I just said, you know what? There's going to be nights where I struggle to score. I'm not going to have the ball in my hand. I'm not bringing it up the court. But I still got to find other ways.
Impact the game.
I got to find other ways to help my team win. So I had to defend and I had to fucking block shots, and so that's why Game 6.
Yes.
When Coach put me in the game, I said, I'm gonna get in here, I'm gonna defend like a maniac because we're down. It's Game 6, I want to try to get us back in the game, so everything that went at that basket, I was going at it.
Blocking
I was blocking. I was trying to catch it all. I was trying to go in. Yeah, most definitely, So that was my approach to every game, I felt like, first of all, I was being given the God-given physical abilities, and I just wanted to use it to the best ability to help my teammates, So that's why anytime I won Defensive Player of the Year, I used to thank all my teammates for letting their man blow by.
Oh, you'd have loved me.
Yeah,
you'd have loved playing with me.
But I would get in your ass if you didn't take my man out to play.
Yes.
Because a lot of times, you got to take my man out to play.
I'm going to crack back for you. Go get that.
Exactly.
I'll crack back, get the rebound.
Just keep coming. You get blown by, just keep coming, take my man out to play.
I would love to have that. But hey, best of luck. Go get that. I'll come over here and clean
no
this
doubt.
up.
Because a lot of times they would try to loft it up. I would change the shot. And then my man would get the tip in on the weak side. Oh, that pissed me off. Yeah. So I used to curse my teammates out about that.
You said a Defensive Player of the Year, won 2 of them, correct?
I won 2 of them. I should have won more. But you got to think, during that era, you had Patrick, you had David Robinson, you had Akeem, who has the most blocks in the history of the league. You had Dikembe. I mean, you had all these great shot blockers. So it was hard, man. It was hard.
What would you say if I could rewind?
But I held my own, though.
But what would you say if I could tell you we could rewind back and for every time you won Defensive Player of the Year to put you in a Supermax category and make you an extra $90 million?
Oh yeah. Oh, it'd have been on. Oh, for sure. Are you that incentive? That incentive? Oh, no doubt. I would have won it every year. I would have won it every year. I would have won Defensive Player every year. Oh, no doubt.
I'm happy.
Crazy. Which is crazy that these young players now have those incentives in their contract.
Yeah, first, second, third, all league.
Oh,
Defensive
man.
Player, you get
Are
those.
you kidding me, man?
I'm happy you brought up Game 6 because I kind of wanted to touch on that. You know what I'm saying? Because, another part of Heat culture is just being a star in your role, whatever your role is.
Yeah.
And you having a Hall of Fame career with the accolades that you had.
Right.
You came off the bench.
Yeah.
And you did it willingly. I was there to watch the whole season. You did it willingly because you knew it was the best thing to help our team win a championship.
It was about winning, bro.
But that ain't easy. So you say that now, but how many Hall of Famers, Olympians, do what you did, gonna come off the bench for anybody?
Well, first of all, Rouse and I would like to think that we were kind of joined at the hip, So when I came here, he had a vision of bringing a championship to Miami, and he started the whole process with trading to bring me here.
Yes.
So I felt an obligation there, I really did. So when I came back here in a scenario where I said, wow, we got all the pieces, we could probably do something special here. Let me just sit back. I ain't complaining about playing time. Let me stay ready. And when my numbers call, I come in and help us win. It's as simple as that. Because at that point in time in my career, it was really about experiencing the finals.
Yes.
Because I had come close so many times and got knocked out. And we thought that, this is going to be the year, this is going to be the year, this is going to be the year. And, and Rouse would always say, you never know you're going to win a championship till you win one.
That's right.
Everything can look great on paper at the beginning of the season, but you never know you're going to win it till you win it, But when we got there, I was like, man, I might not never get back here again. So let's just leave it all out on the line, And let me tell you that, you mentioned this. You mentioned me coming off the bench. There was a moment in that season where Shaq went down.
Yes.
And I had to play about 20-something games. I had to start. If I was sulking and wasn't ready and complaining about playing time, I wouldn't have been able to help us during that stretch when Shaq went down. I think he had a thigh contusion or something like that.
Yeah, exactly right.
But I was able to come in and hold the fort down at center because I knew what my capabilities were, and I think I like to think I got it done. You know what I'm saying?
But you know what? I'm happy you brought that up, though, because I had the same conversation with Pella the other day.
Oh yeah.
And he came in and played well after being out the lineup so long.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, I had a lot of energy inside me." And I was like, "Don't underestimate how hard it is to do what you did. It's not just about you having built up energy inside you.
Yeah.
For you to be out the rotation and to be able to stay locked in, and then when coach
ready.
call your number to go out and perform and produce and not miss a beat, that's professional.
That's
dog.
why you can't take the preparation.
That's professional.
You can't take preparation for granted because, the old saying goes, "Stay ready so you don't have to get ready."
Yes.
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So these young guys, which is what we preach, we have player development. We got guys getting shots up and in the weight room, getting their bodies ready and doing all the stuff they need to do because you might not play for 5 games.
Yes.
But when he looked down the bench, and put you in the game and you don't answer the bell because you ain't ready, he might not look down there again.
No, he might not be much. It was 3 months the first time. It might be 6 months now.
Exactly.
Because we don't expect to miss a beat.
Yeah.
We don't care who he is and who you are.
Next man
when you
up,
get
baby.
in there,
we
don't expect to miss a beat.
Yeah,
it's
no doubt.
like a well-oiled machine. It's going to keep going.
You might not have played for 5, 6, 7 games. But when I look down that bench, I expect for you to come in and for us to continue to
And we're not downplaying how hard that is.
Yeah,
we know it's hard.
It's very
we know
hard.
that's not easy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely.
And another thing that people don't understand is even in that process of you agreeing to, hey, come off the bench, this is best for the team, you didn't take a back seat. Every day, I was in practice with you and Shaq. I watched it. Every day they went at each other. It was almost like everybody ain't going down there. You got to listen. No, it's like one of them yellow tape, white chalk. You go in there at your own risk.
No doubt.
Go in there at your own risk.
You know what? I like the thing.
Every day, it was the highest level of competition between those two.
I like the thing between me and the big fella that, we complimented each other because we pushed each other.
Yes, you did. Nobody could have pushed him like that, and nobody could have pushed you like that.
Yeah, because I got in his ass. I mean, one day we were in a drill, and he tapped me on the shoulder. He's like, "Man, slow down." He said, "Because you go hard, I got to go hard." I said, you.
See, I would have got thrown out. You tossed me on my head. I'd have said that.
I said, you making $20 million a year. I'm making the minimum. I got to be ready just in case your big ass go down. I don't want to hear that. So,
Everybody couldn't. I couldn't have said that. I couldn't have said that.
Yeah.
But every day I watch y'all.
But you know what? Through that, we developed a very, really brotherly type of relationship. And then when he called me to bring him into the hall, I was taken back. I wasn't expecting that call, and he was like, "Man, I want you to be on stage, when I go in." And I was like, I first of all, I looked at that as a total respect and an honor to do that, And I think a lot of that was because of the trust that we developed and pushing each other and winning together and what have you, and how I was candid with him. I was candid with him, and that was his way of showing his appreciation.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Who won the race, though? I can't remember.
I did. We were in Indiana.
I remember y'all races, though. I couldn't remember who won. I couldn't remember who won.
I won that race.
I couldn't remember who won.
Out.
So
me
and Big Fella, me and Big Fella, right? We were in practice. We had just finished practice, so we just went over to lift weights and everything. So he challenged me to a race. I said, "Big Fella, there's no way you're going to beat me." And then we mapped it off where we're going to go down, and we had Bill Ferran standing there. Man, I dusted his ass. Are you kidding me? There's no way I was going to let this big ass. And he was in shape, too.
Yeah, he was.
He was in shape. Big Fella had trimmed down and everything. Yeah, he had trimmed down and everything. I dusted it. He kept up with me, though.
No, they was moving. That's why I can't remember, because it wasn't no blowout. It was a good race.
You ain't gonna win this race.
To you, though, man. I wish people understood how good that dude really dominated.
Oh, man,
really
come on, man. Big Fella was the real deal. He was a handful.
What?
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah, he was one of the reasons why I stayed in the weight room, because trying to hold him up, forearm in the post, trying to keep him out the lane, it's like, man. And when he got a foot in the paint, it was curtains. Yeah, it was a wrap. Yeah, it was a wrap.
You ain't but 6'5".
Come on, man. Come on,
Man, by the time you get up to OG, we keep you here long.
I'm
You be
6'9" and a half, man. I'm 6'9" and a half, 6'10" with my shoes.
Hey, Christian, go to
Yeah,
your D
yeah,
segment
yeah.
on here, Christian.
Yeah.
MVP teammates presented by Tommy John. Top 5 favorite teammates and why they are your favorite. Or you can do starting 5. I like to hear top 5 favorite teammates and why they're your favorite.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got all day. You got a long list to go through.
No.
You got a long list.
No. You, obviously.
Damn, man, I'm flattered.
Yeah. You, because I knew that in the trenches I could go to war with you, and I knew I could counter you. Another one would be P.J. Brown.
Obviously, we've seen why.
God,
Yeah.
I ain't never played with him. He one of my
Yeah,
favorites.
no doubt.
Yeah. Tim Hardaway.
Tim still won't smoke.
He always
He chasing Hallenberg right now.
Yeah,
I said,
yeah,
damn, Tim, he want to smoke. Tim still won't smoke.
D-Wade.
D-Wade.
Yeah. And, a lot of people, I'm a little biased with this, because I'm a straight defensive guy, I think about Keith Askins and what he brought,
Man.
Toughness.
Embodied heat culture.
Oh, my
to
God.
To the
He
core.
embodied
You talk about nasty.
He embodied it all.
Most disliked Keith Askins.
No doubt.
Who like him?
No, he was a
none of
nasty.
that.
He was a nasty on the court.
Yes,
He
sir.
really was. And people hated when he was guard them. So I would throw Keith in there for sure. Yeah, no doubt.
March Madness is back, baby. Go Gators. I see you making that deep run in attorney. Tommy John can't protect you against playoff upsets, but their limited edition basketball underwear can guarantee you a distraction-free viewing experience all playoff season. Avoid a backcourt violation with wedgie-proof underwear. No picks, no rolls, just silky soft comfort. They perfect to wear to dinner, the gym, the bed. They versatile, fellas. You can rock them anytime, anywhere, any place. Do what you want to do in them. Have a good time. You know how some of them other brands might be a little bit too tight, a little bit too uncomfortable in the right places? Tommy John stay right where they supposed to be and do right what they supposed to do, fellas. Ain't never got to worry about cheese in your ass. Fellas, Tommy John has definitely changed the game for me. It's the MVP of underwear. So make sure you go to the website, get right to it. Y'all go get 25% off right now on your first order at TommyJohn.com/OGs. Save 25% at TommyJohn.com/OGs. That's 25% off at TommyJohns.com/OGs. I appreciate you putting me in that top 5 because I don't know if you remember this. This is one of the moments that I always remember. It was one of my saddest moments, but I was happy I was there. I was able to be the one when you got hurt in Atlanta.
Oh, man.
It was one of my saddest moments because you said that it's over. You remember saying that to me?
Oh, man, I was hitting the floor. I was like, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over. I
you
kept
was saying
repeating
it,
it
and I
over and over
remember that.
again. I looked down at my leg. My kneecap was down here.
Man.
Oh.
Yeah. It was no joke.
It was one of my
and
saddest
you know what
moments.
happened? D-Wade turned the ball over at the top of the key.
Yes.
I was trying to set the cream.
Let's take him off your top 5 now. Huh?
No, he won a championship for us.
He won top 5 mine too.
Yeah, no doubt. So I set the screen for him, and he went away from the screen and crossed over and lost the ball. We in Atlanta, Phillips Arena. The arena had just opened.
Just won the
Yeah.
championship.
We had
You
just won the
deciding
championship.
if you was going to come back that year.
I was
You took
deciding,
some time to
no
decide
doubt.
if you
It
was
took some
gonna come
time
back.
to decide.
Yeah.
And then he turned the ball over, so I was hauling ass to chase the dude down. I forgot what the dude's name was, the point guard for Atlanta. And he went up. I was about to pin it on the glass. He went up, man, and I blew my tire, brother.
Yeah.
And I hit the floor, and I was just like in intense pain. And I'm banging on the floor. I look down at my leg. I was like, oh, it's over, it's over, it's over. And then they bring out this damn gurney. He said, take me off the gurney. I said, man, y'all better get that gurney out of here. I was like,
That gurney,
if this gonna be the last time I'm leaving the court,
I'm walking out.
I'm walking out. So I grabbed my fellas,
Yeah.
all of them.
He
They helped me up.
He said his
and
kneecap
I walked.
out by his
I walked off the court.
And one of the saddest
Gonna throw
moments
up.
of my career, but to be able to walk with him off that, I'll never
man.
forget that.
Yeah,
I'll
man.
never forget that.
Yeah.
And also, do you remember the night before Game 6 when me and D-Wade was up all night? You came out in the hallway in your drawers and told us to go to bed. You remember that shit? Me and D-Wade was, I don't know. Listen, me and D-Wade couldn't sleep. We just couldn't sleep the night before Game 6. We sitting out in the hallway talking, but we just talking and laughing. But we can't sleep. We young. It's Game 6. We in the finals. Zoe came out of his drawers and said, man, y'all take y'all ass to sleep and close the door. you remember that?
You better listen.
It sound like something. It sound like something.
Listen, quick and to the point. They ain't give us no dialogue. They ain't say how you doing. Take y'all ass to sleep and close the door.
Yeah, right.
Hey, before we leave,
Right.
for the fans on here, how's your health? How's everything there? Obviously,
You know what, thank God it's good. You know, y'all know about my cancer scare last year, you know, and by the grace of God, I'm an active participant with going to the doctor, you know, and I was able to catch it early, you know, which is one of the things I recommend to all men out there. Be proactive with your health. Don't wait till something escalates into something serious. Get out in front of it and get a checkup at least once a year. I mean a full checkup, you know. Get your colonoscopies, get your PSAs done, get all that stuff done, guys, you know, which is why I do a men's health summit in conjunction with Baptist Health. You know, I'm very grateful for that partnership. UD and I had that partnership, you know, and his life has been affected by cancer as well, you know. So, and then outside of that, man, I'm 21 years post kidney transplant.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? So I'm still kicking strong, man. I was just in the gym, getting them up, trying to keep my body strong, man. You know, getting old as a bitch.
it's a bitch.
Getting old as a bitch. But I'm 55, man, and I'm feeling good, man. So, but I appreciate y'all.
Blessing.
Appreciate y'all asking about my health.
And
It
also,
means a
man,
lot.
just the game plan of being a true leader and a mentor. You know what I'm saying? Not only on the basketball court, but off the basketball court. And I told you this, you know, when I found out about your little health scare, man. Now, not only this organization in this city, but we need you.
Yeah.
We need you. You know what I'm saying? The generation that's behind you, because we still figuring it out.
Thank you.
But anytime we trying to figure it out, we can look at you and the answers be right there.
Thank
You know what I'm saying? A lot of these things in the city that I'm doing, I wouldn't be doing if I wasn't sitting around just paying attention to you.
Yeah, man.
And just watching. And just
you know what?
got my pen and my pad. And this is
You
what
went down
this
there
is
at
how you do it.
Palmetto playing with the old wrinkly ball. And
Nah, I couldn't have did that.
Well,
I couldn't have did
listen,
that.
I'm gonna tell y'all this. You know, we're all here because of relationships. We've gotten to the point where we are in our lives because of our relationships, because the contributions of the people. You know, and I want to make my time here on this earth worthwhile, and try to make it a lot better for other people when I leave it. You know, because I want them to continue to carry on that legacy of giving back and having an impact and making lives better for others. So, you know, I'm grateful for my health. You know, I don't take that for granted. I'm grateful for you guys, man, the relationship I have with you all, man. It means a lot to me. Thanks for having me on the show.
I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, man.
Still gonna whoop your ass for not getting them on earlier.
Yeah.
Your ass.
Man, y'all in trouble.
Your ass.
We on show. We appreciate you coming on for real, though, man.
Before we go,
Appreciate it.
Our young boys,
What's up?
our Tyler Hero and our Bam out of Bios,
Yeah.
man. Let's just express how proud of we are of
Oh,
them,
for sure.
the growth.
Very much so.
Off the basketball court. Buzz Cut Hero is one of my favorites now.
Buzz cut hero.
You know, the Bam, you know, stepping into his leadership role. People don't understand how hard it is to not only think about yourself, but think about the other 15 guys and make sure the other 15 guys are prepared and ready to go, man. Just talk about the growth and the maturation of those guys, man.
Well,
even through a difficult time, those guys have grown tremendously.
Well, let's just talk about the number one coach in the league first, you know.
Nostra.
Nostra.
So, you know, not only has he, you know, taken the baton from Riles, you know, and he's revolutionized his way of coaching and developing these guys, you know, and he's and it's showing now. It really is. It's showing, especially through Tyler and Bam, and they are embracing the opportunity of being leaders.
Yes.
They really are, you know, because of your influence, you know, and
Your influence.
you know, I'm trying to stay in these guys' ears, you know, and I'm excited for Tyler, you know, because this is definitely his time and he's showing it. And he's realizing what he's capable of doing. Yeah. He right this year, he's realizing, you know, now. I told him, I said, you can't look back now. We know what you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great point. Great point.
we know what you can do. You can't look back now. You got to keep building on this. And
Great
now,
point.
and Bam is doing that. I mean, he's breaking our records.
Yeah,
You know, and I remember when we drafted him in 2017. It's Rouse. We were talking about. I said, Rouse. I said, one day we're gonna be hanging his jersey in the rafters. And Rouse looked at me and I was like, watch what I tell you. Watch what I tell you, because I think about humble beginnings with Bam. You know, the man, single mother, grew up in a trailer park. He's hungry.
Yeah, the story's unbelievable.
His story, unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
He's hungry. I said, when he gets here, this is the perfect organization for him, because he's going to develop all the right work habits right off the bat.
Yes.
And eventually that's going to blossom into the player. He's going to blossom into the player he is. Man, he's handling the ball. His mid-range game is impeccable. His mid-range game is impeccable now. Now he's rebounding the hell out of the ball. He's filling up the stat sheet. I mean, he's really blossomed into an incredible all-around player, you know. And now, you know, with Khalil and Pela, and the future is bright.
Yes.
It really is. It's bright, and I'm happy to be a witness to all of it.
Yes.
Well, Bam's story is unbelievable, but man, I'm almost embarrassed to say that I didn't even know your story. Your story is unbelievable too. I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. Well, you know, we all got a story.
We all got a story.
Yeah, we all do, and there's parts of everybody's story that we can kind of take a piece of it and relate to.
Yep.
You know
no
what
doubt.
I'm saying? We can all relate
No
to
doubt.
it. You know,
My story is
so
I
we all
wasn't drafted.
connected.
Y'all two was.
Yeah. Well, bro, yeah.
I just like to Mike about that.
Yeah. No doubt.
We can talk about draft
But you
day later.
defied all the odds. I tell you that.
Yeah, that's right.
For sure.
No, but we appreciate you
I
coming
had great
on.
mentorship. I had great leadership. So I appreciate you, my
Man,
brother.
I
Appreciate you coming on,
man.
OGs, man. A
Nothing
real
but
OG.
love.
Appreciate you being
Nothing
on.
but love, man.
OGs out. Thank you.
Yes, sir.